Have you ever felt sort of caught in a loop? Doing the same things day in, day out, maybe wishing for some personal breakthroughs or just a clear path forward, but feeling like real growth is always just out of reach. What if the most profound transformations, those big leaps in self-awareness, and really the ability to learn from every single experience, what if it wasn't about these grand strategies, but about one incredibly simple yet deeply powerful habit? So in this deep dive, we're not just going to talk about a concept. We're really going to unpack the transformative engine of daily reflection. Our mission today is pretty straightforward: to equip you with the insights and the actionable strategies to weave this practice into your life. We'll show you how we can redefine personal and professional development, turn mistakes into, masterclasses really, and help you transform today's experiences into a remarkably better tomorrow. Okay, let's try and unpack this then. We live in a world that often celebrates constant motion, right? Prioritizing immediate tasks, tangible outputs. And for many of us, pausing to reflect, it just feels like a luxury we can't afford, like an unproductive delay. But what if that pause isn't a luxury at all? What if it's the fundamental engine for genuine progress and, sustained well-being, a truly meaningful life?
That's a really critical distinction. Reflection, at its core, it's a deliberate mental and emotional engagement with your experiences. It's not just passive daydreaming or, simply recounting events. It's an active process. You're dissecting your interactions, your decisions, your outcomes, really delving into the why and the how. Why did I feel that way? How did that choice lead to this result? And the goal isn't self-criticism, not at all. It's about clarity and, importantly, actionable insight.
Okay, so it's like active processing, almost like your brain running a diagnostics check.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Think of it as maybe a cognitive defragmenter for your mind. Firstly, it's just unparalleled for learning from mistakes. And it's not just about identifying what went wrong. It's about understanding the cognitive biases maybe, or the emotional triggers, the situational pressures that influenced your decision. By shining a light on those deeper patterns, you're not just fixing a past error. You're actually actively rewiring your default responses. You're sort of preempting similar missteps in the future.
That shifts it from just damage control to, like you said, genuine neural reprogramming. Wow. Okay, what else does this pause unlock?
Well, it's a huge wellspring for new ideas and creativity. When you reflect on successes, but also challenges, you're essentially reanalyzing the data of your own life. And this can spark, hundreds of new insights, both personal and professional. Imagine reviewing a challenging project maybe, or a difficult conversation. The distance you gain through reflection, it allows novel solutions or approaches to emerge that were just invisible in the heat of the moment. It's how breakthroughs often happen, actually.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that.
Yeah.
Some of my best ideas, they often hit when I'm out for a walk, far from the immediate pressure of whatever problem I'm facing. It really does clear the mind, lets those connections form.
It's true. And you're turning what could just be passive time into active reflection. Beyond that, beyond innovation, reflection significantly boosts mental and emotional well-being. There are studies showing consistent reflection can reduce anxiety and depression. It can increase resilience, decrease stress. It provides that really vital space to process emotions, to work through problems, and just reduce the mental noise that often fuels stress. You gain this psychological distance from the immediate stressors that lets you calm down and see problems in a broader, more manageable context.
So it's not just about what you gain, but also what you shed, that mental noise. And what about self-awareness? That seems like a really natural outcome too.
Oh, absolutely. Regular reflection is probably the single most powerful tool for enhancing self-awareness. Full stop. It allows you to recognize subtle patterns in your thinking, identify areas for personal and professional growth you might otherwise just overlook, and just as importantly, to actually celebrate your accomplishments and strengths. It cultivates a much deeper, more authentic relationship with yourself. It helps you understand your values, your motivations, your evolving identity.
Okay. The why is undeniable. I'm convinced. It's not just a nice to have. It seems fundamental to growth and well-being. But the million-dollar question for most of us is how? How do I actually weave this into a life that feels like it's already overflowing?
Right. That's the core challenge, isn't it? But it's entirely achievable. The key isn't, grand gestures or finding hours of solitude every day. It's really about building patience and persistence through small, consistent efforts. Even just a few minutes done consistently, they yield significant results and build powerful momentum. One of the most effective strategies, I think, is to start incredibly small and simple. For instance, consider what some people call a one-sentence journal. This minimalist approach, it radically lowers the barrier to entry. It's just one thought, maybe one observation, one lesson learned that day. It builds consistency without feeling like this big chore, you know? And then when you look back on those entries over time, it provides a really powerful sense of progress. Your brain doesn't register it as work, which makes it incredibly easy to start and, more importantly, stick with.
A single sentence. That's genius, actually. It makes it achievable even on the most chaotic days. It kind of removes that whole I don't have time excuse, doesn't it?
Exactly, because the power is in the consistency. Dedicate just a few minutes, maybe at the same time, same place, every single day, if you can. Using a trigger event can really help cement the habit, like right after I brush my teeth or while my morning coffee is brewing, something you already do automatically. Another fantastic idea is to integrate reflection into daily activities you're already doing, like exercise. You mentioned walking earlier. Many people find their best ideas or insights emerge during runs, walks, even mundane things like washing dishes. It turns physical activity into mental clarity time. Now, for those who prefer a bit more structure, you could consider a sort of three-step inquiry. First, reflect specifically on your day. What went right, what went wrong, what could be improved. Then, maybe narrow your focus to your work, challenges faced, skills used, lessons learned. And finally, broaden your perspective out to your life as a whole. What are your long-term goals, your values, your overall direction? This kind of holistic approach makes sure you're not missing the forest for the trees.
That's a great progression, yeah. From the micro details of the day to the bigger macro picture. What about something a bit less frequent, but maybe still impactful?
Absolutely. Beyond the daily practice, weekly reflection sessions are incredibly valuable. Set aside some dedicated quiet time, maybe an uninterrupted hour on a Sunday evening, for example, and use guiding questions to prompt deeper thought. What were my key wins this week, big or small? What challenges did I encounter and how did I respond? Are there habits that need adjusting? What new habits do I want to cultivate next week? And always, always try to conclude by focusing on gratitude. Gratitude for the lessons learned, the experiences, even the difficult ones.
It's so easy, isn't it, to think of our phones and devices as just a source of endless distraction, constantly pulling us away from quiet thought. But what if those very devices, the ones that often scatter our attention, could actually be our most powerful partners in cultivating this reflective habit? Here's where I think it gets really interesting. What are these journaling apps all about, and how can they actually transform our practice?
You've really hit on a crucial point there, because journaling apps are far more than just digital notebooks. Their real power lies in how they can transform introspection from this solitary, sometimes kind of static act into more of a data-driven journey. They offer these enhanced features that are tailored for our modern, often on-the-go lives. They kind of turn self-awareness into an observable, trackable science almost. For instance, you've got features like password protection, encryption, that keeps your deepest thoughts truly personal. And that's a significant psychological barrier removed for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's huge. The idea of someone finding a physical journal, that can definitely be a deterrent for some.
Absolutely. And the capabilities go way beyond that. Imagine enriching your entries with photos, maybe audio notes, or even linking directly to a social media post that sparked a thought, creating this richer, fuller, multi-sensory record of your experiences. Plus, with cloud synchronization, you never have to worry about losing your entries, and you can access your journal across all your devices anytime, anywhere. This seamless, secure, and easily accessible record keeping, it's transformative. And what's truly powerful, I think, for personal growth are the integrated mood and habit trackers many apps have. They provide these visual infographics that make it easy to spot emotional patterns over time. They can reveal connections you might just never realize otherwise. For example, you might visually see how, say, a lack of exercise directly impacts your mood over a few days, or how certain interactions consistently trigger stress. This offers invaluable data-backed insights for personal growth.
Wow, so it's not just about what you write down, but the sort of metadata around it helps you understand why you're writing it.
Precisely. And for those times when we get stuck, staring at a blank page, many apps offer daily prompts to ignite reflection. Plus, push notifications can gently remind you to set aside that time for the habit. It's kind of like having a gentle, personalized coach right there in your pocket.
Yeah.
This also promotes a more minimalist lifestyle, maybe, by eliminating the need for physical notebooks. And many include built-in self-care routines, too, nudging a more holistic approach to well-being.
That's a lot of power in your pocket, as you say. Are there any specific apps that really stand out that exemplify this transformation?
Yeah, there are a few worth highlighting for their unique approaches. Dailyo is great for visually inclined people. Instead of lots of writing, you track moods and activities with simple stickers. These then translate into these really powerful personal infographics to help you spot patterns. It's a great entry point if you're more of a visual learner. Then there's the 5-minute journal. It's very structured, specific morning and evening prompts. It's really designed to cultivate gratitude, help you set intentions, and reflect on the day through positive psychology principles. It kind of pushes you towards that growth mindset right from the moment you wake up. And for those looking to leverage, the cutting edge tech, Might and Sarah stands out. It's an AI-powered mental health journal. It actually pairs your entries with famous AI mentors. Think figures like Marcus Aurelius or Carl Jung to provide personalized insights and exercises. It uses this evolving technology to help improve mindset and mental fitness, making reflection a really interactive, guided experience.
Okay, even with all these incredible benefits and these cool tools, it still feels like so many of us struggle to make reflection a consistent practice. Why is that? What are the common roadblocks, the things that trip people up, and how can we actually overcome them?
It's very true. While reflection is incredibly beneficial, it's not always an easy process, is it? And several common barriers tend to pop up. The perception of no time is arguably the biggest one. It just feels like another item on an already overflowing to-do list, like an extra chore rather than a foundational practice.
Yeah, I get that. Our brains are kind of wired for efficiency, aren't they? And if something doesn't feel immediately productive, it just gets pushed down the list.
Exactly. Another significant barrier is a lack of skill, or maybe the feeling of doing it wrong. So many people worry they don't know how to reflect properly or that they're doing it incorrectly, and that just leads to discouragement. Then there's the environment itself. Finding a suitable physical or mental space to really engage in reflection can be challenging, whether you need total silence or maybe you find inspiration in a bustling coffee shop. Motivation also naturally wanes, doesn't it? Especially when you feel tired or uninspired, particularly if you're reflecting on what feel like repetitive daily tasks. And perhaps one of the biggest yet often unspoken barriers is simply yourself. The discomfort maybe of confronting your own self-insight or challenging those established patterns and uncomfortable truths, it can be surprisingly difficult. Our brains sometimes prefer the comfort of the familiar, right? Even if it's not really serving us. But the good news is, with a little practice, little intention, these can all definitely be overcome.
Okay, so how do we push past these hurdles, these very real psychological and practical hurdles?
Well, first, try to reframe time. View reflection not as a chore, but as a critical investment. An investment in your mental well-being, your ongoing education, your professional development. And remind yourself that little and often truly yield surprising results. You don't need hours, just a few focused minutes. Second, embrace individuality. There's no single right way to reflect. Experimentation is key. You'll find what works best for you. Maybe it's bullet points, maybe it's free-form writing, maybe it's just mental notes during your walk. It's all valid. Third, optimize your space. Experiment to find the environment that best supports your reflective mood. Sometimes simply stepping away from your usual workspace, moving to a different room, going to a park, a coffee shop that can help shift your mindset and invite deeper thought. Fourth, always remember your why. Why did you want to start reflecting in the first place? Write down that core motivation and put it somewhere visible, a sticky note on your monitor maybe, or on your bathroom mirror, maybe as your phone background. Focusing on that core purpose really helps maintain persistence when motivation dips. Fifth, ruthlessly minimize distractions. Turn off notifications, put your phone on silent if you can. Create a focused environment just for those few minutes to truly engage with your thoughts without interruption. And finally, leverage support if you can. A supportive environment, whether that's through an accountability group with friends or colleagues, it can significantly impact success. Just remember, patience and persistence are absolutely vital here.
So, thinking bigger picture now, what does all this mean when we sort of zoom out? Beyond our own personal growth and individual mastery, can reflection have a ripple effect? Can it make a difference for, say, teams, communities, or even society at large?
Yeah, this is where it gets truly exciting, I think. What's fascinating is how this individual practice of reflection scales up. It connects directly to broader concepts of continuous learning and collective development. When individuals cultivate these habits, it naturally fosters shared success. It starts with embracing a growth mindset collectively. As individuals, we learn to see challenges as opportunities, learn from mistakes. Collectively, this means encouraging one another to take risks, supporting each other through challenges, celebrating the learning process itself. And that really fosters innovation within a team or a community.
So it's not just about my growth in isolation, but how my growth kind of inspires and integrates with the group's evolution. How does that translate into action then?
Exactly. It moves into cultivating what you might call shared self-awareness. So, beyond just personal introspection, it's about understanding how individual actions impact the group and also how group dynamics influence individual behaviors. This requires open communication, requires empathy, collective accountability. Reflection also acts as this powerful catalyst for action. It's not just passive thought, it's a driver for specific, actionable improvements. When a team or a whole community commits to reflecting and improving together, the potential for growth is just exponential. It creates a culture of continuous feedback and mutual support. We've actually seen this in some compelling studies. For example, there was a study on medical students which showed that daily written reflections significantly increased their awareness of their own thoughts and actions, what they called reflection in action, and it improved their recall of experiences. It basically forced a critical evaluation of weaknesses, which led to clearer action plans for improvement, like in patient care. This type of frequent reflection creates what's known as a closed feedback loop. It allows learners to consider circumstances, plan alterations, follow up on outcomes, and this is absolutely critical for learning from complex real-life experiences. It drives continuous collective improvement. Imagine applying that kind of loop to any team or community striving for excellence. Ultimately, the journey of self-awareness and growth through reflection, it's continuous. It's really not about reaching some final destination, but about continuously evolving, learning, and striving to be the best version of yourself day after day.
Yeah, every insight from today really feels like a building block for a better tomorrow. By embracing this habit, you ensure you're not just stuck in old patterns, but constantly evolving, constantly improving, always equipped to learn from, well, life's rich tapestry of experiences. Imagine the profound impact, not just on your personal well-being and your professional success, but on the people and communities around you as your growth begins to inspire their own. So here's a final provocative thought for you to take away. What is the biggest leap forward you could make personally, professionally, for your overall well-being? What if it starts not with some grand, overwhelming strategy, but with just a few minutes of quiet, consistent reflection every single day? We really encourage you to pick just one strategy from today's deep dive and maybe start your reflection journey right now. We honestly can't wait to see the incredible growth you unlock.